thepascal. You are now rocking with that dude Pascal. We be going wild, Haitian in the building, so original. Got the haters catching feelings. Get your hands up to the ceiling and keep them held high, cause St. Louis is ready. Forget about it, goodbye. Hold up, we just saying hi. Five somebody, rise up, weekdays. Catch us live, somebody, let's go.
Good evening. Good morning and good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Pascal Show. Hope you guys are all doing well out there. Hope this show finds you in good spirits because another day above the dirt is always a blessing. Yes, indeed. It is always a blessing. Let's not forget that. We got some things we got to talk about. Missed you guys today. It's been a busy one, so, you know, a necessary busy day, okay? Hopefully tomorrow will be back to some semblance of normalcy, or something like that. But anyway, a lot of things that are going on, starting to brew now, you know, as the sun starts to go down and things start to calm down to a certain extent. There's some new information that's been popping off, literally just popped off 30 minutes before we started this show. So we're going to be talking about that in a little bit. But again, there's a lot of stuff that's going on that we need to talk about. That I talked about in shorts because that's the only time I had today. It's been, like I said, a little crazy. But I'm happy to give you guys those news updates when I can. But there's been some new updates, some new things, so we need to talk about those things. Okay? Throughout the entire day. Okay? Yeah, there's some new Jamie. Oh, Jamie. Yes, there is some new information. Yes, there is. I mean, maybe you know something that just dropped 30 minutes ago. So maybe it might not be new to you, but there's some other people out here where it is news and new to them. So let me cook. But we got to get into this, okay? Yeah, I said normally. Normalcy, normality, whatever. Okay, well, we got to get into this conversation. So please do me a favor. Hit that like button down below. Crush it, do it, hit that reaction button if you're watching on these other platforms. If you are watching on these other platforms like Facebook, X/Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Rumble, Twitch, Kick. I'm on all them mugs. So make sure you are hitting that follow button on those platforms, please, and thank you. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button here on my main channel, right here on YouTube. Go to my second channel, The Pascal Show Clips. Subscribe over there as well. That'd be greatly appreciated. Okay, hit that notification bell on both platforms so you know and set it to all so you know whenever I go live, whenever I upload and all that stuff. That'll be greatly appreciated as well. Hit that join button down below, become a member, support the channel if you can. Check out my Patreon, which is right there in the ticker, going across the ticker right now as we speak. Or you can also, if you want to support even further, go check out PascalMerch.com. PascalMerch.com. We got some really great stuff over there. PascalMerch.com. Go check it out. Okay. All righty then. We have got to get into this, love. We have things that we have got to talk about. Yes, I know that's crazy, Copper Mountain. I was on for 7 hours. That was diabolical. Here's the thing. I've been on much longer, okay, for court, for trials that we've done and all that. I've done it before. This ain't my first rodeo, but lately I haven't been doing big shows like that. So the fact that happened is wild. But you know, we were hoping for some good news. We were hoping that they nabbed the mother lover. You know what I mean? And right now there's still things are still pending. Things are still pending. So let's see, because they still have that car, that Range Rover. They still are processing that Range Rover, and maybe they have something. Maybe they don't. I don't know if there's a connection or not. We'll see what happens, okay? And like I said, a lot of things have happened over the day, okay? So some of these things I'm going to be talking about, yes, are several hours old, okay? God forbid. I'm so sorry. But this is the first live show I've done all day today. So I'm going to do a little bit of catch up on things that happened last night, okay? Or not last night, I'm sorry, earlier today. And then all the things that they've been talking about, which isn't a whole lot. But there is something that just broke by News Nation that we are going to talk about fairly soon, okay? Fairly soon in the show. But I want to talk about this first, okay? Because now there's a new letter, okay? I know it's old news, okay? But we talked about it as a short, just so you know, that earlier today, all right before lunchtime, gave you guys a short. TMZ basically said that they received a fourth letter. Now, here's the thing. Didn't I say this will be wild if this guy who says he knows the kidnapper and says, give me some money, that he's going to sit there and write another letter? Wouldn't he look like Boo Boo the Fool if he came out with another letter? But that's exactly what he said. The third letter, by the way, let's just do a recap. Previously on TMZ's receiving random ransom letters from random dudes. Okay. The guy said in the letter, send me money. I want 100,000. You give me 50 as a down payment. I'll give you the name. As soon as you catch him, then you give me the other 50. I won't touch anything until he is caught. And then I'll just take 50 of it. I'll cash out the 50, right? But at the end of that letter, he said, according to Harvey Levin, okay, the founder of TMZ, he said, this is the last time I'm reaching out to you. 3 strikes and you're out, guys. I'm out. Deuces. This is last call. Last call. Get what you need. I'm done. So last time you're going to hear from me. If you try again, you're never going to hear from me again. 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 Actually, hi. So yeah, here's a fourth letter. And yeah, I like I said, I'm scared of 5-0 because I got history. You feel me? With 5-0. So all I'm saying is that I seen this dude and Nancy. I seen it. And they across the border, baby. Now, you can still send me exactly what I asked for, okay? But now you got a little bit of more information, all right? Fourth letter, he said this. When he said, I'm done, 3 strikes and you're out, he said, what was it? What was that golf term? What about, what is it called? What is it called? When you take a swing, you make them, you mess up. So you ask for like what is it called? Like a mulligan? Isn't that what it is? A mulligan? He's like, forget about that last letter. Okay. Let me explain something real quick. Okay. Yeah, that was a mulligan. We're just going to call it mulligan. Okay. Just consider this letter number 3. Okay. Forget this one. Forget the last one. That's a mulligan. Mulligan. Okay, so let's see what had happened was, all right, I had priors, okay, so me and 5-0, we don't mix, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I still want the 100,000, though. And I saw her across the border. I confronted that kidnapper, and he said, you better shut your mouth. Cabron. Shut your mouth. Cállate, right? Isn't that shut up in Spanish? Cállate? Is it? Somebody knows it. How do you say shut up in Spanish? Ain't it cállate? I think it is. That, if I'm right, that just went, I don't know. I don't know what happened. I'm very impressed with myself. Maybe it's all the beet juice I've been drinking. I don't know. Okay. Superpowers. Okay. Superpowers. Cállate. Cabrón. Right? Wow. I'm good. Wow, I'm kind of impressed. Yeah. Okay, but anyway, dude went up to him, the kidnapper, all dark and mysterious, and said, yeah, that is Nancy. Cállate, cabrón. Or muerte. You feel me? So I don't know what happened here, okay? But he said, I can't say nothing. Because he told me to shut up, but I seen it. I seen her. And Nancy's in Mexico. Remember, he said you may have to go international in the third letter, in the mulligan. He said, you might have to go to international to retrieve Nancy Guthrie. And he said, 3 strikes, you're out. I'm done. I'm out. I'm out. I'm done. I'm done. And then he left. And then he said, I'm back. With the 4th letter, he gave us more information, though, which is interesting. He said he saw them across the border. And he's like, oh, damn, in that. And the kidnapper said, yes, shut up. Cállate. Interesting, right? Interesting. Interesting. So let's take a look at this. Okay? Funny how he came back because he's really won that money. He really thinks he has a chance here. You know what I'm saying? He's really feeling like you know what I'm saying? He's feeling himself. He feels like he could really make a miracle happen for himself. And you realize that, let me just say this. You realize that no matter what if he was to do it, even Harvey Levin did a video, which I'll probably play a little bit of it too. And Harvey's like, you realize that lying to the public or lying to the family or the feds or anything is a serious charge, right? And I'm like, it doesn't even matter. What if he does know the information? He's in serious trouble no matter what. Regardless if he gets the $100,000, he's still extorting this woman's life and this information for financial gain. So no matter what, he's screwed. It doesn't matter if he's lying or not. He's screwed no matter what. If he's telling the truth or lying, he is still up for possible charges, period. Period. This is crazy. Let's take a look. So they received their 4th letter. They received the 4th letter from a man claiming to know who kidnapped Nancy Guthrie and where she is. And we have a proposition for that person. So there wasn't in the video. Harvey said some things in the video, which we'll take a look at in a second. The email with the same Bitcoin amount as the other 3 notes. Well, the other 3 notes, at first it was 1 Bitcoin. And then he said, okay, how about this? You guys are already putting out $100,000. So give me that $100,000 and I'll hook you up, right? It says in part, I know what I saw 5 days ago south of the border, and I was told to shut up. So I know who he is. And that was definitely Nancy with him, or with them. Sorry. That's a very important piece. Them. They were traveling. If this is true, Nancy was traveling with more than just one person. And one of them walked up to him somehow and said, Cállate, cabrón. I don't know. This is what he's claiming. But he said, oh, ay Dios mío. You know what I mean? That be Nancy Guthrie. And then this other guy came up and said, cállate, cabrón. I don't know why it sounds like that, but you know what I mean. Maybe I've been watching too many Three Amigos. El guapo. But anyway, he didn't say hola. he really didn't just say. He didn't say hola. Okay, that's Rebecca. That's a Rebecca Haros situation. Okay. El guapo. But anyway, this is the second reference he's made to there being more than one person involved in the purported abduction. In the 3rd letter received by TMZ on Friday, he said, be prepared to go international, which we just talked about, right? In the 3rd letter, he did say, be prepared to go across state lines, like across country lines to Mexico, where, right? So he said south of the border 5 days ago. Now, somebody tell me, because I haven't done the math yet. This is just me spitting off the top of the dome right now. When he said up on the top, because, we always got to have some sort of receipts, right? He says, I know what I saw 5 days ago south of the border. So when was the first letter sent? Does anybody remember the date that the first letter was sent? Because 5 days ago would be the 11th of February is when he first laid eyes on Nancy Guthrie south of the border with a dude that apparently said, shut up. and she was traveling with more than just one person. When somebody out there knows it, just put it in the chat. If you could do me that solid, just do the math really quick. When was the first report of the first letter by this guy? Because if it was like, if he sent it out on the 10th, then his math is wrong and he's lying. Remember, he says, I know what I saw 5 days ago south of the border. 5 whole days. So when did he send a letter? When was the first letter made? And if that's true, then he's either a really good liar, or he might have seen somebody that looked a lot like Nancy Guthrie. But why would somebody go up to him and say, shut up, if it's not Nancy Guthrie? You know what I mean? If it's not Nancy Guthrie, why would that guy go? Why did some guy walk up and be like, Cállate? Why? That doesn't make sense. You see what I'm saying? February 5th was the first time. Are we sure about that? Are we sure about that? February 3rd. Are we sure about that? Hold on. I'm going to look it up. That doesn't make no. I'm talking about the first letter that this guy sent. Remember, he sent 4 letters so far. The first letter was, hey, give me a Bitcoin and I will release the name of the kidnapper. Remember, there's been a bunch of other ransom notes. Okay, I'm talking about the one where the guy said, hey, give me $66,000, which is the equivalent of 1 Bitcoin, and I will release the name of the kidnapper. Right? So technically, yeah, it would have been like the 3rd. Yep, you're right. Realtor NC. Okay, MLS, Realtor NC. Okay, it would have been technically the 3rd letter. So if he saw 5 days ago south of the border, and that's the first time he laid eyes on Nancy Guthrie, then this dude lying. Then his math is wrong. Just saying that out loud. But let's continue. He said, shut up. I know who he is. The guy told him to shut up. I know who he is. And that was definitely Nancy with them. That was 5 days ago, he said, that he saw her south of the border. Okay. And apparently I posted it 4 days ago. Interesting. So maybe he really did. You never know. Maybe, or this is just one fat ass lie. You know, this guy could just be, keeping an eye on his lies. You got to remember, it's $100,000 free on the line for him, right? So let's continue. Be prepared to go international. Here's the other part that he said. The man says he has a burglary on his record from 10 years ago. So he's scared to come forward, presumably fearing he'd be implicated. Yeah, he has a history of breaking and entering. Isn't that what that guy looks like he's doing as well? Breaking and entering as well? Doesn't that look like he's kind of breaking and entering? Isn't that what we see with the masked individual? Is that what it looks like? Isn't that what we see in the ring camera? Is that what we see? That's what we see, guys. So again, the guy's like, yeah, well, I've been arrested for the same thing that the dude is being, caught on film doing. So, what? Could he be one of the guys? Could he be one of the guys? Could he? He is again demanding $50,000 in Bitcoin up front in return for the information. If the individual who is writing us these emails is reading this, if you are real, send us the information regarding the whereabouts of Nancy and her kidnappers. We will immediately forward the information to the FBI. If it leads to finding Nancy and or the kidnappers, you then have a public record that you are the one responsible, thus ensuring you will get the reward. The FBI is aware We are making this overture, not just offer. They had to throw out an SAT word. Okay. Interesting, right? Very interesting. Hold on. I need to pull up the video from Harvey. From Harvey. Hold on. Definitely got to pull this up.
Monday morning, we have received a fourth letter from the same person who says that he knows where Nancy Guthrie is and he wants money in return for the information. Essentially, he wants the reward. So I have something to say to you. And I have already talked to the FBI about this, that if you are not real, you're committing a crime, and you should know that. And this is a serious federal crime. If you are real, this is the fourth letter you've sent, and I should tell everybody that in this letter, it says, I know what I saw 5 days ago south of the border, and I was told to shut up, so I know who he is, and that was definitely Nancy with them. This is the second time he has referred to more than one person involved in this. He said there is a main person and there are others, and he said it here. He is saying that Nancy was taken to Mexico. Now, this is what he's saying. I'm not going to vouch for him, but this is the fourth letter. We have sent them all on to the FBI. And he also says one of the reasons he's worried about coming forward is he has a record. He has a burglary on his record from 10 years ago. So I don't know if you're real or not, if you're watching this, but if you are, and I have told the FBI that we're going to do this, they know this, that if you're worried about getting this money, and you really do have this information, send it to us. You're sending us these letters. Send it to us. We will forward it to the FBI. And that way there's a record that we have that you supplied this information. If they find her and they find the kidnapper, then at least there is evidence, because we have it, that you're the one who provided the information. So this is a way for you to get that money if this really is legitimate.
Now, here's the thing. He's got a point there. He's basically saying, hey, here's another route you can take where it doesn't seem like you're extorting anybody. Here's another way out where it doesn't seem like you're writing these these letters like as if they're ransom letters, right? Here's another way. You give us the information. We send it to the FBI. They go and get the guy, and then the FBI pays you for that information. You have to give us real information, and then we will make sure that you are paid in full. But if you aren't doing that, if you're doing it this way, it's coming off something else. Isn't it coming off like something else, guys? Am I the only one who feels like this is coming off like something completely different? Like he's extorting the situation? Anybody else getting that vibe? So, of course, let's not forget, Harvey is a lawyer. So he's seeing the route. And he's like, oh, wait. We can change this. So you have your cake and eat it too. Give us the information. We'll give it to the feds. And we'll make sure the feds pay you in full. But by you going out here and doing it the way you're doing it ass backwards, and now it's coming off like you're extorting. But if you are telling the truth, then this shouldn't be a problem. Give us the information, and we'll make sure you're fed. But if you're lying, then there's a lot of issues. You got a lot of problems coming for you, because the feds will find you. They have a certain set of skills. They will find you. They won't kill you. Not like Liam Neeson's, okay? But they will find you. and you will have some issues, right? So I get it. I see what Harvey's doing. See, I see the angle. It's like, wait a second. If you really are real, let's help you out here. Because if we help you, hopefully you'll help them. And you can get her home sooner, right? He's talking like a lawyer right now. It's interesting. It's interesting how, it's the lawyer brain talking. This is the lawyer brain talking right here.
Send us the information. We will pass it on to the FBI. Okay, that said, a couple of points. One is the glove. I hope that glove has DNA that leads authorities to this kidnapper.
I'm sorry to say this really quick. All right. I really don't think it's going to lead us anywhere. I know a lot of people are like, what? But I got to keep it a bean with y'all. It is a shot in the dark. Okay? Let's be real. Okay? It's literally a shot in the dark on whether or not that DNA on that glove happens to be the culprit's DNA. One thing I'm worried about is that we're seeing what happened with Carlos. We're seeing what happens with the family that was 2 minutes away from Nancy Guthrie's house in that $1 million home. Like I'm worried. I'm really worried about it being something else. They just go and randomly raid somebody else's house just because that person, that DNA is just somebody's. It could be anybody's DNA, right? It could be anybody's DNA. It could be an innocent individual. Now, I get it. There's still a possibility that somebody could have, after arresting her, so on and so forth, not arresting her, sorry, but after, taking her, abducting her, and throwing her in the car, sure, I could see the guy ripping the gloves off, but really throwing it out the window 2 miles down the road? I just don't see that. I just don't. I could see some other people driving their cars, their trucks. There might have been a glove, loose glove sitting, a used loose glove sitting in the bed of the truck, and a strong gust of wind just flings it right out the bed of the truck onto the side of the road 2 miles down the road. That's still possible too. But at the same time, if they're able to ID this person, hopefully they got the right person. That's all I'm saying, because it'll be another person screwed.
But it is weird to me, because if somebody is at that house and they take Nancy and they get in a car to drive off, the first thing they're going to do is take the gloves off, because it's real hard to drive with gloves like that. And if the gloves go off and they're placed in the car, how does it end up 2 miles away on the side of the road? It just is weird. It just is OJ-esque and doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I agree with that too. And that's the other thing too. Yes, they did find DNA inside the house. If they're able but they didn't say anything about it matching. They didn't say, hey, this DNA that was found inside the house matches what's outside on that discarded black glove that was outside. You see what I'm saying? They have not said anything about that. And I think that's massive. That's a massive deal. But again, I still don't think that this person, whoever this masked individual was, I still don't think that this masked individual operated alone. Okay? I don't think they're, you know what I mean? I just don't. Again, it's very, very interesting stuff. But we're going to move on, because obviously that's what happened earlier today. There's some other things that have been happening as of late, which we are going to talk about here in just a second. Hold on 1 second, y'all. Let's see here. All right. Let's
Now, breaking news out of Arizona.
Whoa. Okay. So here's some other things that I think are very interesting. And a lot of people reacting in a very, very, very guttural way. Okay. And it's obviously the title of the show. All right. Number one, the family has been cleared. Okay. The family has been cleared. And how does that make y'all feel? How y'all feeling about that? Because I see a lot of people, people are angry. So I'm surprised people are angry. I really am. I'm like, oh, they did? Okay, cool. You see what I'm saying? Like, I feel like the reaction should be, oh, okay, good. I mean, yes, I know everybody wants the culprit to be found and all that stuff, but at the same time, people are pissed. People are angry about this info. Family members have been cleared. Okay? They are not considered suspects at all in her disappearance, not at all whatsoever. Now, that means everybody. It seems like everybody family-wise, because there are a lot of crazy theories going on about, this is just what I've been hearing in the rumor mill about there's a possibility somebody connected to the person who is driving the actual Range Rover could be like the some ex's cousin 3 times removed boyfriend or something crazy like that that's actually connected to the whole family. I mean, I don't know about all that. Okay. I don't know about all that. And I don't know if FBI has cleared this family members. I want to make that abundantly clear as well. We haven't heard anything about FBI clearing the family. And I hear other people saying that same thing too. That's what the rumor mill is saying, right? Oh, the FBI hasn't cleared the family. The sheriff has, the police department has, but not FBI. And I'm like, okay. Isn't the sheriff the one spearheading this investigation in the first doggone place? So should it matter? Right? At least in my personal opinion, it just doesn't make any sense. Because he's the one who's basically saying they're clear. So if they're clear, right? But we will see what happens. Wilder things have happened. So let's take a look at this. Let's see. So here it is. Nancy Guthrie's family members are not suspects in her disappearance, sheriff says. So Nancy Guthrie's family, including her adult children, and their spouses, are not suspects in her disappearance. This is what Sheriff Nanos said today, adding in a statement that to suggest otherwise is wrong, not only wrong, but cruel. All right. We got the post that he put up. So we're going to take a look at that in a second. But the sheriff's department also asked members of the media to honor their profession and report with compassion and professionalism. And I am kind of curious, who in the media, and I'm not talking about internet journalists, I'm talking about media. I'm talking about like just regular, new, NBC, MS Now, Fox News, CNN, all of them, right? CBS, ABC, all of them. Who in that area is not honoring the information with compassion and professionalism? Or is he just saying, basically, all you internet sleuths that are out here that have strong opinions, callete. You see what I'm saying? Do you see what I'm saying? Is this interesting that he said, members of the media, please honor the situation and go forward and do your job with compassion and professionalism when it comes to this information, right? The announcement is notable as it comes after some true crime enthusiasts and online sleuths have suggested, without evidence of family connection to the disappearance. Yeah, we did have one. It is true. There was things being said on platforms that kind of catapulted the side-eyeing a little bit. So, I mean, I could see, come on now. I feel like everybody was side-eyeing them anyway in the very beginning because they're the last 2 people to see her alive. Let's not forget that. But then at the same time, though, you hear it, right, on a platform, and it solidifies the theory. You see what I'm saying? So I could see more and more people going, okay, she's, it's a reputable person, so on and so forth. But, like I said, people get things wrong all the time, and who's to say that source wasn't right at that time? You see what I'm saying? Who's to say that they weren't right at that moment? Remember, a case is constantly changing. It's extremely flexible and malleable. It changes with the tides. And in the very beginning of a case, you could be sitting there looking at two people the entire time, only to find out that it wasn't two people at all. It wasn't the two people you were staring at the entire doggone time. I use this analogy all the time. But I know it's a TV show, but it's a perfect example of how cases do kind of run from what I've seen. Take a Law and Order SVU show. You got your Olivia, you got your Ice-T, okay? You got her team, okay, of detectives, and they're trying to take down whatever case they're trying to take down. And a lot of times you'll see them go on, go track a certain lead that leads to nothing. At first, they're side-eyeing the boyfriend, right? It's like a murder scene of a dead teen or something like that, right? And they'll go and they'll look at the boyfriend because he was the last one to see her alive, right? And they're side-eyeing the boyfriend, side-eyeing. And then, Ice-T says something interesting and weird, right? I feel like sometimes he's the one who says the thing for the people who aren't really caught up with the movie or like the show. You know what I mean? So you mean he wasn't actually there? He wasn't actually the killer? You know what I'm saying? It'll be something so stupid. And then, Olivia has to be like, yes, Ice-T, that's exactly what it means. You know what I mean? So I feel that, we go down routes and it leads to nothing, right? It'll be like, oh, we're going to she was last seen at this fishmonger place. And then they're going over there like, and they're throwing fish back and forth. Yeah, I saw this dude, and she asked asked him to light a cigarette, and that's all I saw. But he's right there. He's right there right now. And then they go over and they're like, so you were talking to a, tall, good-looking blonde, she looked about 20, 22, you know what I mean, around that age. Yeah, I saw her. What about her? You know what I mean? And it'll be like a dead end. And then they go back to the drawing board. And then they go down, and the next thing you know, you find out it's like the girl's best friend, jealous because she was stooping the guy that she's always wanted to be with or something stupid like that, right? So that's usually how it goes down, right? In every real case, there are side-eyeing possible prime suspects. There's all kinds of stuff that goes on. Think about the Idaho 4 case. There were so many things that were going on in the Idaho 4 case. Do you remember the dude that he was like a weird guy? He was very weird. I forgot his name, but I think he lived nearby the house. Glasses, I forgot his name. But everybody was going crazy over that dude, thinking that he's the one who went and did the terrible thing to the Idaho 4, right? Only to find out he had nothing to do with it. Or the people that they were following, remember the taco truck or the food truck, and everybody was going crazy over the dudes that were standing behind the girls, and they were like, "Oh yeah, you don't see how weird that guy is? The round guy, the big round guy right there. He's very weird. He's weird, man. Something's going on. Where did that lead to? Where did that lead us? Nowhere, right? There were so many theories out there, like crazy. So again, in the defense of other content creators that have said certain things could be true at the time. It does not mean that person is doing it or did it. But they're being looked at that time. You see what I'm saying? So all this could change. Kylie, Rodney's case was an absolute cluster F. Okay? Same with Riley Riley Strain, right? That one was an absolute cluster F as well. Okay. There was theories. There was all kinds of different things, all misleading red herrings that led us down these wild dead ends that ended with nothing, right? Oh, I saw somebody slip something in his drink. Really? You know what I mean? Like there's just so many different things, right? So again, we kind of have to take that with a grain of salt. And we can't just turn to those people and, crucify them for hearing something from a source that they believe is reputable and is solid, right? I think things change. This case has changed. We were looking at one thing. Now we're looking at something completely different. So again, like I said, this case has just morphed into something completely big, right? Oh yeah, Sebastian Rogers' case still is a cluster. Okay, that one's extremely polarizing. Okay, extremely. All right, but let's move on. Okay. While it is standard practice for investigators to examine the possibility or possible connection of relatives to violent crimes, no evidence has surfaced to date suggesting any wrongdoing by members of the Guthrie family. Now, here's the thing. People were upset about that information. Very much so. Understandably, people were upset about that. I get it. Yeah, Jean-Benet Ramsey's case. I mean, even Elizabeth Smart's case, Summer Wells, Quentin Simon, all of them have gone off the rails because, we'll get very little information and people's minds just go wild. And some of these chat rooms are absolutely bonkers with theories. And then people just get stuck in their theories rather than actually hearing the facts. And that's sad. That's really sad when it comes to these cases as well. That is the truth, right? That's the bloody truth, guys. But people were so upset about this, okay, that this reaction, feeling some type of way about this, is when so the sheriff had to make a statement after the fact that was made saying that they have been they've been cleared from this suspect list. Okay. So he writes this. And of course we get that little blurb I just read to you guys kind of summarizes what he said, but we got to hear the whole thing. Okay. So this is a statement from the sheriff. Okay. Thanos Nanos and on the Nancy Guthrie investigation. So it says, to be clear, the Guthrie family, to include all siblings and spouses, have been cleared as possible suspects in this case. Y'all, people are sitting here going, maybe this has to do with the Epi files. Maybe this has to do with Savannah Guthrie's husband. He used to work for the Clintons and therefore there's so much crazy theories going on. So many that I'm just like, y'all, can we get facts real quick before you just fly completely off this planet? Or at least tether yourself to a tree, a strong, deep-rooted tree before you just fly off this planet, okay? Because some of these theories are wild, y'all. So he says they have been cleared as possible suspects in this case. The family has been nothing but cooperative and gracious and are victims in this case. To suggest otherwise is not only wrong, it is cruel. The Guthrie family are victims, plain and simple. Please, I'm begging you, the media, to honor your profession and report with some sense of compassion and professionalism. Damn. Yeah, some people are analyzing what Savannah Guthrie said in that most recent video. They're now analyzing that and saying she's quoting things from a movie. And I'm like, really? I just see a woman broken. Like, I don't know. Maybe there's, you never know. Maybe there's some other conversation that they're having with the kidnappers that we don't know about. I don't know. And maybe I don't know. It's like, please do a video that resembles a scene from my favorite movie, Silence of the Lambs. I just don't see it, guys. I just don't see it. But people are breaking it down. And that's interesting. So let's take a look at this right Yeah.
Where the Pima County Sheriff releases a new statement on the investigation into Nancy Guthrie's kidnapping. This comes as investigators are looking at a black glove found near Nancy Guthrie's home. The FBI says the glove does seem to match the pair worn by the suspect in this now widely seen ring in this doorbell camera video, and it contains DNA evidence. CBS News reporter Andres Gutierrez live for us in Tucson. Andres, tell us about this new statement from the sheriff.
Well, Sarah, just moments before we came on the air, the Pima County Sheriff says that the Guthrie family has been ruled out as possible suspects in this case and shared a statement, and I'll read it to you. Quote, to be clear, the Guthrie family to include all sibling DNA profile from that glove, and they have sent it over to the FBI who are about to enter it into CODIS, and that is the...
By the way, they have not put it into CODIS yet. So they may have done it now, but as far as this whole day, they had not put the DNA into CODIS yet. Because this video here is only it's 4 hours old. You see what I'm saying? But they're like, yeah, we haven't put it into CODIS yet. What? Why wasn't it put in yesterday when we talked about CODIS? This should already been in there. They should already be going down. If there's a match to anybody, they should be knocking on that person's door by now. Right?
National database for the DNA that the FBI has. If there is a match, it could help them narrow down a name associated with this suspect. But the glove is just one part of a bigger piece of the puzzle. The Pima County Sheriff's Department also saying to CBS News that investigators now believe that the suspect's backpack, his face mask, as well as the clothing were bought at Walmart. We already knew that this particular 25-liter Ozark Trail backpack is the one that the suspect ended up wearing in that video. This particular one, the Ozark Trail brand, is the private label of Walmart. Walmart has not said publicly whether or not they're working with law enforcement in this case. You would assume that that is the situation. We have been told by sources that they are. They've been looking at surveillance video at several Walmart stores here in the area. They are also reviewing any store purchases, receipts, that kind of stuff to try and again nail down and zero in on a name for this particular suspect.
Yeah, so obviously the release of that statement excluding the family as potential suspects should clear up what has been just so much conjecture from the public. I know they mentioned the media, but the public themselves, in the absence of concrete information, so many people have been asking so many questions about this case, Andres. And now we're focusing on these pieces of evidence, and you mentioned where those might lead. Andres, we're also hearing that investigators are using this high-tech tool to try and detect emissions from Nancy Guthrie's pacemaker. What do we know about that?
Yeah, besides the daily medication that we know Nancy needed for her to live, we also know that she has a pacemaker, and we're told that investigators are using a high-tech tool called a signal sniffer that can pick up any signal from that particular device. It's not a GPS. It doesn't work like a tracking chip, but if the pacemaker is active and it's transmitting, this particular device is able to help the investigators determine if that device is still working and possibly narrow in on a search area. Usually it's mounted onto a helicopter. We did see a chopper flying above her house 2 days after she was reported missing. It was hovering above just a few hundred feet away. We are presuming that that is what they were using it for. We don't know how often they're using it, but this is one of the many tools that they've thrown to this case. In addition to that, it's the manpower. The FBI continues to send in reinforcement from other field offices here to Tucson. Right now, they are working to vet more than 13,000 tips. You can imagine that there are teams devoted to following these leads over at Walmart, but also that DNA that they are right now analyzing at Quantico.
I'm sorry, but I'm still kind of wondering, why would it take this long to finally use the signal sniffer thingy? You know what I'm saying? Like, did they suddenly think, oh, we should use that now? Like, oh, wow. You know what I mean? Like, it just seems very strange for them to do that now, right? After the fact. But there's been a lot of after the fact with this whole situation. Am I right?
You just heard the breaking news that the Guthrie family has been cleared by the local authorities there. Your thoughts on what it took? Obviously, it's been several days now, and I imagine that there have been some things happening behind the scenes, interviews with the family. What do you think it took for the authorities to come out and officially clear them?
It just took a lot of work, in addition to the interviews, accounting for everybody's whereabouts, looking at all of their communications and any other types of unresolved issues that they can just put that piece to rest and now focus on more important things. So it's great that they've got that cleared, can move on, focus their resources elsewhere.
Right. Yeah, I mentioned when we were talking with Andres, the public, has been sharing their speculation and their theories online. I can imagine if you're a family member reading some of those comments might be incredibly hurtful. And obviously authorities want to focus on the best possible leads that they can. So Doug, this glove there's been a lot of focus paid on this glove that they found near Nancy Guthrie's home that contains DNA. The FBI is looking to find a match in its national database. I think there are probably a lot of, from us in the public, a lot of misconceptions about how that works. It's not some magic button, right? Can you explain how the database works, how vast it is, and does it really only help if someone has a criminal history?
Yes, that's all true. It can help. It's only good if you have somebody to match it to. So they found this glove. I still think it's not been totally resolved if that is in fact the glove. It's a glove as far as I know, that does have DNA in it. So the DNA is going to be evaluated. They'll get a profile, and then they will be checking it against CODIS. So if it doesn't match anything, it's great for when you do have a suspect, then you can compare that to that person. But if it's not already in there, it's not going to be helpful in identifying who did this. So CODIS has been around for years now. When I was a new agent, it was just starting to take off, and there were just a few thousand entries into it. Now it's millions, and anyone who is arrested for a felony, part of their processing is the fingerprints, the pictures, and now they do a buccal swab, and that DNA sample goes into the CODIS database. So if whoever this kidnapper has been arrested and processed with that buccal swab, they may be able to get a match. And so everybody will be very, very anxious to see how that turns out.
That's one piece of this. Some of the members of the public and the media have been asking about the ability to tap into databases used by private companies, like for ancestry tracking and those sorts of things. Is that an option? Is that something that they can rely on?
It can be. I think one that we've seen in recent history was the Golden State Killer, where they had a DNA sample, but it didn't match anything. So they went to, it wasn't like one of the major ones like 23andMe or some of the ones we've all heard about. It was a more.
I want to make this abundantly clear. I mean, even reading this, I'm looking some things up off screen, and I wanted to see what Brian Enton had to say about anything recently. And so shout out to Brian Enton, but he posted, he reposted something, which, you know what, I'm just going to share it so you guys can see this too. All right. This is very interesting. As of 2 hours ago, it says here, DNA has still not been put into CODIS as of now. What? Why? Do you see why this doesn't make sense? Just soak it in, guys. That was as of 2 hours ago. I mean, maybe things are subject to change. Maybe they finally did it now. But the fact that the FBI has not actually, or whoever needs to put it into CODIS, hasn't put it into CODIS, that's weird. So he retweeted this from Libby Dean. I don't know who Libby Dean is. No disrespect. But anyway, this said, the DNA from the glove in Nancy Guthrie's case is still undergoing quality control in the sheriff's private lab in Florida after being sent from Tucson on the 12th of February. It is expected to be inputted into FBI CODIS in the near future. An FBI official tells me, what? Huh? So they haven't finished processing the situation or what? It's still undergoing quality control? I mean, I don't know what that means exactly, but doesn't that seem a little bit weird? Yeah, Copper Mountain. That means, so you know, that means it's still in Florida, cabron. Still there. The glow, still in Florida, cabron. Still there. Ay Dios mío, indeed. Why? ¿Por qué? ¿Por qué? That doesn't make sense. That makes no freaking sense. Okay. Here's the other piece of information. I do have a video that I want to share with y'all. But now the FBI is going door to door to these shops, like these gun shops, and they're trying to see. They have like a list of 40 people. A list of 40 people. A list of 40 people that they are literally going through, and they're trying to ask these gun shops and these shops that sell, deadly weapons, blah, blah, blah. They're asking them, have they seen any of these 40 people? And if they have, were they there to purchase any type of deadly weapons in the last month? How's that? Because it's been 3 weeks. We're walking into our 3rd week. It's day 16. It's over. We're walking into day 17. It's about to be 17 mother-loving days, baby. 17 mother-loving days, baby. Ain't that wild? Since she was last seen. And they haven't yet put the DNA into CODIS, so that if there's somebody who's connected to this whole thing that may have had a record and they have their DNA, they have not even done that yet. So we can't have them busting down somebody's door right now tonight because it hasn't even been submitted or put into CODIS in Quantico. So what's the point of this? They say there's DNA. It's male DNA on this black glove, a glove that closely matches the glove that this masked assailant was wearing on the night that Nancy Guthrie went missing. They ran the DNA, so they at least know it's a male DNA. Why? And that was just yesterday. Why haven't they gone and just send it over, put it in the CODIS, call it a day? So what's going on? What's going on here, guys? This makes no sense at all. It doesn't. But now they're going and visiting gun stores and going, hey, we have a list of 40 people, like a damn scroll, okay, falling to the ground. Here's a list of 40 people. Have you seen any of these guys here at all in the last month? That takes time. That's 40 faces. Seeing if they come in to the gun store trying to buy a pew-pew. 40 individuals. So this isn't even, that's the thing. Nothing's been zeroed in. I can't, what, honestly, I would have been cool with like 10 individuals, but you talk about 40, baby. 40? It could be anybody at this point. Like I said, I'll give them 2 more. I'd be cool with 12. You know what I mean? I'd be cool with 12. All right. But what is this? 40? That could be anybody. That could be anybody. And they already been done, like the Range Rover, the person's house, Carlos and Carlos' whole family, right? That's insane, y'all. Over a globe, cabrón. Over a globe. Like, what is going on here, guys? ¿Qué pasa, mi amigo?
In Arizona, where the search for 84-year-old Nancy Guthrie is now in its 3rd week. New this afternoon, the Pima County Sheriff has officially cleared the entire Guthrie family as possible suspects. That includes all siblings and their spouses.
40
Sheriff
people.
Chris Nano said in a statement that, quote, the family has been nothing but cooperative and gracious and are victims in this case. To suggest otherwise is not only wrong, it is cruel. With the family cleared, investigators remain focused on the evidence. The suspense at this hour centers around forensics. Specifically, police are awaiting DNA results from a glove found 2 miles from Guthrie's home.
That glow.
That might not seem significant. Authorities have found at least 16 gloves in their search, many of them belonging to other searchers, but the FBI says this one is different. It appears to visually match the glove of the masked suspect in that
Hold on. I'm sorry.
surveillance video from Guthrie's front door camera.
So I'm sure there was another glove that was found under an overpass. Okay. There was another one found in an overpass that was black. Does that automatically mean that you see what I'm saying? I'm just saying, I feel bad because they could literally be just an innocent guy or an innocent, not an innocent woman because they said it was a male DNA. It could be an innocent guy who just got done working. They found 16 different gloves. They ran all those gloves and found out, oh, they're all with us. These are all our people. But this one, though, by the way, they have one glove. They have one male DNA on that glove. Let me just say that again. One DNA on that glove. Okay. And they have a list of 40 individuals that they're going door to door right now to store to store, to gun stores, trying to see if any of those 40 have gone out here and bought a gun as of late. Yeah. One glove, 40 individuals on the list. I'm just saying. By the way, what is this Zach thing? Who's Zach? Zach who? We've been seeing that in comments lately. What is Zach? Who's Zach? I'm not catching this Zach thing. Who would be? Who that? Let's continue.
Now, testing is underway to find the person who wore it. And police aren't just focusing on the gloves from that video. The Pima County Sheriff says his team is consulting with Walmart because the suspect's clothing appears to come from the retail giant. In fact, Walmart exclusively sells that 25-liter Ozark Hiker backpack that the suspect was wearing in that video. Meanwhile, another day, another note to TMZ. They have received a fourth message from a man who says he can end all of this right now and reveal the kidnapper's identity. This time, he's even hinting, again, all without proof, that Nancy Guthrie is south of the border. He is reiterating his demand for $50,000 in Bitcoin up front.
I heard something about the guy who drives the car, who was driving the Range Rover, but there isn't any proof of that. I know that there's a crazy theory running amok about that. I don't know if that's entirely true. Okay. I don't know if that's entirely true, y'all. But I know people have gone deep. That's what I was. But I thought it was like, is that who you're talking about? I didn't know his name was Zach, but I know that there's a theory about like a cousin 3 times removed's boyfriend is involved. I don't know. It's a rumor. Like, like I said, people are going crazy. People are going crazy with their theories. And it's like, can we just find out what's going on before we go crazy with these theories? You know what I mean? I'm just saying. And I think I know who Zach Peters is. Yeah. I know he covers he's been covering a lot of the Balake, Blake Lively, the Blake Lively, Ryan Reynolds, Justin Baldoni situation, right? I know he's been covering that. Isn't that the same guy? I think so. He makes good content. But yeah, I was wondering, is that, because I don't know if he's been following this. I don't know. But I thought that you guys were talking about I thought you guys were talking about the other, this theory that people are running around with. You know what I'm saying? So, again, it's interesting. All right. This theory that there's some deeper thing going on within the family. I mean, it could be possible, but I don't know. There's no proof of it. Everyone's just going crazy with that. Okay.
For that information. In just a moment, I'll speak live with TMZ's co-executive producer about this brand new message. As this search surpasses 2 weeks, Today Show host Savannah Guthrie put out another public plea, this time speaking directly
Going to
the
Brian
person
Enton.
at this hour.
Elizabeth,
get to
I
this
have some
part.
brand new reporting that I just confirmed in the last couple of minutes, and that is that FBI agents have been to several gun stores right here in the Tucson area. And when they show up to the gun stores, I have learned that they have 40 names and 40 photographs
That's
that they are
crazy.
showing employees of the gun stores and asking them if any of those people have been inside the store or if any of those people have purchased weapons. So that's brand new. Again, we just confirmed that.
So they're going, like I said, door to these stores with 40 photos and the names and going, look at this photograph. Like what the hell's going on here, guys? 40. Like it's like, FBI. They all, Nicole, they all grasping at straws right now. Yeah, Bumbleclot. It's crap, in my personal opinion. Yeah, I sang some Nickelback. Goo. But you know what I mean. All right. Just and this photograph. It's just 40 photographs of these individuals. Now you told me that I see that Carlos has never been here. Okay, that we can confirm that here. Okay, yeah. So how about Javier? Okay, no Javier. Okay, no Javier. We can take that down. You ain't never seen him. Okay. What about Ricardo? No, Ricardo. Okay. No Ricardo. Okay. Like they're just going through all of them. How about Juan? No. Juan 1 and then Juan 2. There's actually 5 in here, sir. Hold on. So Juan 1. Have you seen Juan? No Juan? No Juan? Or no one? Oh, no Juan. Okay, so no Juan 1. Okay. You know what I mean? It's like, what are they doing? What are they doing? See, like I said, it would have been cool if it was like 12. 40 though? Yeah, I said which one? Yeah. $1 million to Juan, you know? I'm done. I'm sorry. I'm done. There can only be Juan. Okay, I'm done.
In terms of the DNA testing, there's a lot evolving there too. News Nation's Libby Dean has confirmed that the DNA that was pulled off of a glove about 2 miles from where I'm standing outside Nancy Guthrie's house, the DNA has yet to be put into the CODIS FBI database, but that it is going to be happening soon, which is significant because once they get it into the database, at that point, they will be able to cross-reference it against other criminals who are in that database and perhaps maybe make a match. And lastly, Elizabeth, remember Friday night, there was that big FBI raid that we were at. There were no arrests made, but I am told not to think that that is totally off the table yet in terms of possibly being connected. There was a federal search warrant that was conducted, which means a federal judge had to sign off on it, which means that there was some meat on the bones there, I'm told, in terms of how that home and those people could have possibly been connected to the Nancy Guthrie investigation, and that they are still going over the evidence right now, electronics, and that there was even DNA taken. So I'm told to be patient on that front, that there could still be more coming soon, Elizabeth.
Hold on. Hit that last
In
part.
terms of how that home and those people could have possibly been connected to the Nancy Guthrie investigation, and that they are still going over the evidence right now, electronics, and that there was even DNA taken. So I'm told to be patient on that front, that there could still be more coming soon, Elizabeth.
Now, that I think is a very big deal, that they're still not done with the car or the electronics. But that's the same thing that they did with Carlos. They raided his home. They detained him. They raided his car, but they didn't process any of his stuff. They didn't take his stuff. So Carlos might be safe, but this other people, we haven't heard anything from them. Carlos was fast to get in front of the camera and be like, yo, man, I had nothing to do with this. I don't know what the hell. And I hope that they find whoever did it, because they got to clear my name, because this is terrible. Because you know for a fact that's now out there. That info's out there for good. You see what I'm saying? So again, now you got this situation where you got a family, you know, two men, if I'm correct, or three men and a mom. Okay, I think it's like three brothers and a mom that were detained. We haven't heard anything about them. We don't know their names. They haven't come out and said anything at all. Then they processed that Range Rover. And here's the other thing too. You never know. Because remember when I said, okay, now this is only skating on the possibility of there being some sort of connection, right? On the possibility of them doing something. All right. Having something to do with their disappearance. Why do you think they live in such a really nice home? Shoot, we are looking and side-eyeing the hell out of the likes of someone like Jeffrey Epstein, a guy who didn't even finish, you know, barely even graduated high school, right? And we've seen his grammar. Like, dear Lord, how did you live life writing anything to anybody, right? Clearly, the guy, but he had millions and millions of dollars. He had his own island, boy, right? He had his own island, right? So when I look at that, I'm like, well, what if those people are in deep like that too? What if they're deeply connected? And that's how they make their money. That's how they're able to drive a really nice ride like a Range Rover and live in $1 million home in a really affluent area in Tucson, Arizona. What are the possibilities, right? Now, again, that is if and only if cops process the car and find out that there's something going on. Because there could be some trafficking thing going on, baby. There could be some trafficking-ish going on, man. You never know. But Nancy was a target for another reason. For extortion. For money. A large considerable amount of money, right? Maybe. It's like, dang, she lives right down the street, yo. Yeah, Savannah Guthrie's mom. She lives right down the street, son. It's easy money. You know what I mean? Whatever they're thinking in their minds. You see what I'm saying? Now I get it. You know, Nicole B just said, you know, moving children, okay, is the highest paid business. Yes, I get it. And she is 84 years old, right? It's not every day that you have somebody kidnapping and abducting an 84-year-old human being. But if they know that there is a lot of money potentially behind it. But here's the thing. Are any of the ransoms actually real? Has any of them that have been put out here really been about these people trying to make money? Think about that for a second. Or was it really a burglary that went wrong? I don't know, guys. Like I said, this whole thing is just it smells weird. The whole thing smells weird. Whole thing smells weird. But see, let me say this. Organ harvesting, no disrespect at all to Nancy at all. But let's talk about age for a hot minute. Someone said organ harvesting. Do you really? Okay, now I'm going to sound like a jerk, and I'm not trying to sound like a jerk. But can we just say this really quick? Are her organs really prime? She's rocking a pacemaker too. So what organs does she have at 84 years old that would be prime for any individual in the black market, for example? I hate to ask that question. This sounds morbid as F, but what if it was that? She's 84. So are we sure about that? Okay. So again, I don't know if it's all about that, but I can see, something else, right? It's purely money, or maybe it was a burglary that just went wrong. Or they knew exactly who this woman is, who is she is connected to, what kind of home she was living in, and all that, which is still a very strong possibility. And let me finish the rest of this really quick.
Brian, who are these 40 people, these pictures that the FBI is taking to local gun stores? Do we know?
We don't know the names, but again, we just confirmed this. So they have 40 names and 40 pictures. Does that mean that there are 40 persons of interest, 40 people that they're interested in? Are they putting some pictures and names in there just to sort of, that aren't even involved, just to kind of like, throw people off a little bit? We don't know, but I do know that we've confirmed several gun shops. They say the FBI agents have shown up with 40 names and 40 photos. This is just within the last couple of days, and have asked them whether they have been inside the shop or whether they have purchased a gun.
All right. If you manage to learn from your sources how they landed on those 40 people, come give us a wave. We'll bring you back. That is intriguing information.
Let me just say this too. Now, this is possibly what's happening. This is obviously what's happening, but let me just tell you this. What are the possibilities of the criminal being that dumb to go to a place, a gun store, buy the weapon, and then days later, let's just say, or within that same month, go to Nancy Guthrie's house and do what he did? Like, we clearly could tell that this is not the smartest criminal in the world, but would he be that dumb to do that? Within weeks, let's just say, within weeks of actually trying to break into this house. Now, I get it. Law enforcement has to do their due diligence. And they have to go scorched earth, right? No stone unturned. I get that. But there's another part of me that's like, you don't think he had that weapon already for a long time? Or borrowed a weapon from a friend? Or got it off the streets? Like, he went into I can see like the likes of someone who doesn't do this kind of stuff for a living at all, that's not a criminal at all. I can see somebody doing that kind of dumb move by going into a store, to a gun store, buying the weapon, and then using that weapon at a crime scene. I can actually see that actually happening. Somebody who is like a novice, amateur, just stupid. But someone who is, say, has done this once or twice in their life, are they really taking that weapon and showing up? They just bought that. What if they leave it behind? What, you know what I mean? There's so many different possibilities. What if FBI goes and gets a list of 40 individuals with their faces on it and shows up to the same gun store you just bought that weapon from? I'm just saying, just think about that. Do the reverse math really quick. Do you really think, unless the guy's that dumb, which is still a possibility, but there's still that other side of me that's like, nah, I don't know, guys. I don't know. You know what I mean? I don't know. But they got to do their due diligence, right? No stone unturned, indeed. Let me, let's see. Hold on. Now, I am kind of curious. Do we really think that Nancy Guthrie is south of the border right now? Do you think that? Do we really think that she's south of the border? That's the question I got. Do we really, really think that she's south?
That brand new email from a man claiming to know Guthrie's kidnapper, Charles Great to have you yet again, I guess. What time did this note come in today? And did it come in the same way the others have through this anonymous tip line?
Hold on. Can I just point something out really quick before we even hear what TMZ has to say about this? Just ride with me for a second. If she was across the border, if she went across the border, wouldn't they have that on camera somewhere? We talking about the border. We talk about Trump's border now. I'm no disrespect. I'm just keeping it a bean. Think about that for a second. Wouldn't that question already be answered by now? Think about it. Wouldn't we already been known she crossed the border? You really think that as they're crossing the border, let's just say this guy, whoever this is, takes her and they cross the border. Do you really think that this person is going to successfully cross the border with weapon in tow and a woman that's been taken against her will without any issues? Remember also, let me just point this out too. That was her blood that went from the front door. Okay. If you see my mouse, I know it's very, very small right now, but that pointer right there, it went from the doorway of that house all the way down this driveway and stopped at this driveway, at the end of the driveway. And that was her leaking. She was bleeding, guys. So think about this. She's not far from the border. That's true. They drive down. She just got rocked. However way she got rocked, she got injured. They go to the border and they're passing the border. They're not checking. They're not looking in. They're not seeing a woman who just got bruised and maybe some caked red, blood on her nose or face or wherever she got hurt. Think about that for a second. Did they really cross the border unscathed, undetected? I don't think so. Yeah, that's the other thing too. It's like, you got to remember, if they are Mexican, if these assailants are Mexican, you got a white woman in a car with, I don't know, you never know, right? And injured in some sort of way. That's not going to seem a little weird. And it's not like they can hide her in the trunk. You see what I'm saying? So are they really in Mexico right now? I don't know. I don't know about all that. But let's I think they're still in Tucson. That's what I truly think. I think they're truly still in Tucson. But let's continue.
Yes, came in the same way. By the way, I just want to say, Elizabeth, that's great reporting by Brian there. That is remarkable information about a list of 40 people.
Yeah, I think we're going to be heading out to the gun stores shortly to ask people who those 40 people are.
I've got 100 questions. But yes, this note,
I have 40.
We got, came in the same way that the other 3 came in through our tip line email inbox, and came in last night just before midnight. And this time there's a little more information. Now, you'll remember on Friday when we got the last one, they said that was the last time you're going to hear from me, 3 strikes and you're out. What prompted this one? They say right off the top, they say, I saw Savannah's latest video and my heart goes out to her. It really does. But I cannot turn myself in, leaving my family unprotected and broke, especially now that I'm being hunted. So this person is saying that basically whoever's connected to the kidnapping or the kidnapper or kidnappers are on the hunt for them because they're aware that that they may be coming forward with information. So
Here's the other thing too. Interesting how they're saying, oh yeah, I'm being hunted right now. Yeah, I was going to say, so they saw her south of the border and they said, "Oh, ay Dios mío, that is, Nancy Guthrie, right?" And the guy who kidnapped her went up to him and said, "Cállate," right? Clearly, he knows who the person is. So, is he really hiding? You see what I'm saying? Think about that. Is the guy who's writing these letters to TMZ, is he really hiding? Because I don't think he is. Again, ay Dios mío. Ay Dios mío. That is Nancy Guthrie, right? And he's like, cállate. He knows who he is. And here's what's crazy is that now TMZ is putting it out there for everybody to see. You don't think that the kidnappers looking at these updates all over the internet about a fourth letter, and he's like, man, you know what I mean? Damn it. Yeah, it's like a telenovela. Yeah. Telemundo. Yeah, you know what I mean? It just feels strange. He's putting this information out here and it's being put out to the world. And he's saying, I'm so scared for my life. I'm scared for my life. I'm in hiding, but I'm sending you these emails that keep on getting posted on TMZ for the world to see, including, let's not forget, the kidnapper as well. You don't think the kidnapper's watching everything? So again, wouldn't he already be muerte by now? If the guy was really trying to find him? Or could it be the actual kidnapper himself who's saying this stuff? God only knows. But think about that for a second, guys. Think about that. That's weird. You know? I'm worried about my family. I'm worried about my family's safety. And then it's like, then why are you sending it to TMZ? Oh, my God. Because everybody knows now. You see what I'm saying? Everybody knows what's going on, baby.
Feel that their lives are in danger.
My
now,
Lord.
The other thing they made a second reference to is Mexico. Remember on Friday, there's a part of the note that said, be prepared to go international. Well, in this one, they say, I know what I saw 5 days ago south of the border, and I was told to shut up, so I know who he is, and that was definitely Nancy with them. So another reference to the fact that according to them, there's more than one person involved here. But they're saying that they saw Nancy last week in Mexico with her captors.
Charles, they said last week in Mexico, or she's been missing now
5 days ago.
So 5 days ago, he saw her in Mexico with the kidnappers, and that obviously she was alive.
Right. That's certainly the way they're making it sound. Now, that would have been Wednesday. And it's interesting, the very first note we got was on Wednesday. So they came consecutive days, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then finally, and then this most recent one on Sunday night. I don't,
You've turned this into the FBI.
Yes.
Who knows if this is a hoax or not? Somebody's expending a lot of time and energy communicating, though, and sending you these emails. If it's a hoax. It was interesting. Harvey Levin, your co-executive producer, made a direct address earlier today to whoever this is, saying, if you're for real, send us the information and we'll send it to the FBI if you're afraid of having the FBI know your identity.
Yeah, this was, and look, as you said, we have passed all of this information on to the FBI. In a conversation this morning with someone at the FBI, Harvey said, listen, this is what I want to do. They said, that sounds fine. We're not going to, try to stop you from that. And the idea here is, because we've read now 4 of these notes and we've gone over them, and what is very clear, the theme throughout all of them is that they feel that the FBI doesn't trust them, and they certainly don't trust the FBI in that they feel that they would be arrested and that the FBI would not give them the reward when it's all said and done. So what we're trying to do is to bridge that and get this information. And that's why Harvey made this video appealing to them, saying, send us the information. We will give it to the FBI. and now you have a public record that it is your information that led to, if they're, you know, if they're for real, it's your information that led to the capture of the kidnappers. And therefore, we would be able to say this person deserves the reward. You know, I don't know if they're gonna go for that. And to this point, we've heard nothing. But is it a desperate attempt? Certainly. But I think even as you heard Savannah say, we are in desperate times. And if this person is legit, why not get that information? If they're, by the way, and then Harvey said this in the video also, if you don't have the information, well, this is criminal fraud and you're in big trouble.
You're in big trouble. That's a crime, what you're doing.
Exactly.
All right. Interesting that whoever sent this claimed to have been very moved by Savannah's video that came out late yesterday
Or he's just finding an excuse to write another letter because he didn't get any money. Let's be real. And now he's like, oh, I feel bad. You know, now seeing what's going on here, I feel it. And all I want to do is just tell you guys what's going on, but I need that money. You know, it's weird because at the end of the day, if he knows something, you'd think that he would just give out the information and not care about the reward, right? And if he gets the reward, it's like, cool, that's a great blessing. Cool. I'm happy to get that. But that's not the case. It's all a lie. It's a hoax, guys. That's what I'm seeing, you know? Parky Posey, thank you so much. Low key, starting to believe him. Oh, wow. Really? What? Okay, that's interesting. That's interesting. I'm not. Nah, I'm not believing it. Not one damn second. Not one damn second. Jackie Sue, thank you so much. I appreciate it. I just don't understand how they are so sure no family is involved if they don't even know what happened. You know what? That's a hard fact. This masked individual could be anybody. I think it is pretty wild that you got them saying that. But at the same time, it's like, okay, if they've been cleared, all right, then they've been cleared. But I know that the general public is feeling some type of way about it. I know a lot of people are still side-eyeing certain individuals. In fact, we haven't really seen or heard anything from anybody that has been side-eyed a lot. We've been seeing a lot from Savannah. We saw something from Cameron, but there's other people that are being side-eyed that we haven't seen them say or speak about anything. And in fact, I have to ask this. It doesn't mean that I think he's guilty. It doesn't mean that I think he's innocent. But where's Tommaso? Where has he been this entire time? We've been seeing Annie in the videos with the fam doing their family videos, but we haven't seen him at all. Now, I'm not expecting him to jump in and be like, oh, here, I want to put in my 2 cents. But at the same time, I just find it interesting that we have not seen anything about the dude. We have not seen one stitch of the guy since the allegation came out, right? So interesting. But that doesn't mean guilt. That's not an admission of guilt, but it is something I am interested in. Where could he be? And why is he not out here? Moving on. Serenity, thank you so much for the love. The sheriff said a day or two ago that no one has been cleared, so he can't point at just the reporters and web sleuths. That's true. That's true. But now this is the new update, right? Yes, he said 2 days ago and for a while that everyone was a suspect. And now he's saying that they're all cleared. But then at the same time, I just don't know if I could fully trust everything that's coming out of his mouth because of how the investigation has been handled. 48 hours after she went missing, they cleared the crime scene and opened it to the public. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just saying everything that they've been doing has it's been ass backwards. So I have a problem with it too. But at the same time, if they've been cleared, then they've been cleared for now until there's other proof out there. You see what I'm saying? You know? My Miracle Mama, do you think the black glove and signal sniffer are fake? And they're really doing things that don't want the perps to know. Well, I don't think that they would make a huge deal out of the black glove, right? I don't think they would make a big deal about that. And I don't think that they would spend a lot of taxpayers' money on a fugazi, like jet fuel, like, helicopter fuel, flying around just acting like we're using this sniffer signal. Like, that would be insane if they did something like that. Diabolical and messed up. And if that truth ever was to come out, then the sheriff would be in some serious trouble, and then he should resign, because he shouldn't be doing that if it's just one big fugazi. But I'm hoping it's not, right? But that's an interesting thought, for real. Beautiful disaster. Thank you so much for the love. Case is wild. Don't get distracted from of other news. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to this case, and there's a left turn every 5 seconds, it feels like, and it's very frustrating. It's exhausting, guys. It's exhausting. But yeah, we're still following this. It's still insane that there was a mass shooting in Rhode Island at a freaking high school hockey game. 3 people lost their lives, multiple people shot. I mean, that's absolutely insane. But that's real. That actually happened, guys. Real talk. So again, pretty insane. Astrology. Thank you so much for the love. OJ vibes. Shaking my head. Pascal, have you looked at Kayla, Luke's girlfriend? No, I have not. I haven't looked into it at all, because I know there's been a lot of speculation. There's been a lot of side-eyeing at other things. People are digging into things that I don't know if there's a connection or not. I'm going to wait and see if there's any more information before I go down that rabbit hole. You know what I'm saying? But yes, people are talking about those names. Okay. Chrissy, thank you so much for the love. I wonder if the glove has holes in the, I guess, 2 fingertips like they saw in the Nest Cam. That'd be interesting. It was only on one of the gloves. I think you're saying one glove. Yeah, Chrissy, if that is the case, I'd be very interested. But you'd think that it would be like, it is exactly the one that he had on one of his hands. You see what I'm saying? I feel like they would have said that by now. It is exactly the one, because there's a hole in this particular place, and you can see it in the security cam footage. Therefore, right? So we'll see. We'll see what they uncover. Lisa, thank you so much. The guy on the video could be the note writer. That's what I'm thinking. You never know. Or somebody who helped carry her into the car. Maybe he was the getaway driver. You never know, right? But also possibly lying. There's a vibe here that I'm thinking that they're lying. Why would they say, oh, she's in Mexico? It's still possible that she could be in Mexico. It really is still possible. But I feel like she would have been caught on camera. They have cameras all on the border. You're driving through. You don't think they're going to find her face right there? Bang, there she is. You know what I mean? Something to think about, though. Mimi, thank you so much for the super sticker. I really do appreciate all the super stickers. Thank you so very, very much. Thank you. Craig, what's up? Craig and DM. Thank you. The sad truth is, even after several weeks, we still don't know much. I hope for all missing people to be found. This will take time. Yeah, like the sheriff said, could be hours, could be days, could be months, could be years. It's a terrible thing to say to people who are very concerned about where she could be, right? It's not what you want to hear. You know what I mean? Crisis, thank you so much for the love. I appreciate it. In Arizona, we don't have to buy a gun at a gun store. Leave a paper trail. That's a good point. We can buy a gun from a private party or a swap meet with no paperwork. That's a good point. That is a very good point. So maybe, they got to do what they can, right? They're going to take the 40 faces and 40 names and go to every single gun shop they can think of in the metropolitan area, okay, in the surrounding area, and see if they can connect some dots. If they can't, then they're back to ground zero. They're back to square one, right? Hopefully we'll see what they uncover. It'd be wild if it was something as simple as that. right? Taking these 40 names, 40 faces, going to these gun shops, and they're like, oh my God, that's the guy. And they're able to do the reverse math. That'd be incredible. And if that's the case, hey, shoot, by any means necessary, get this woman home, right? And get these bad guys, get them arrested. Metal Stylist, thank you so much for becoming a member. Welcome to the family. And just like Metal Stylist, think about becoming a member by hitting that join button down below, please, and thank you. General Genobi, what's up? Walks through room, clueless as hell. Yeah. I just feel like, yeah, that's the vibe I'm getting on all of this. On all of this. Yeah, 100%. Beautiful Messy Ball, thank you so much for the love. If the TMZ person had real information and we were in real fear, they could go straight to the FBI and ask for witness protection. Yeah, that's very true. That's absolutely true. And still go, give me the monies? Maybe, right? He didn't reach out to FBI. This guy's not reaching out to local law enforcement. He is going straight to TMZ. I think it's a fugazi. I really do. Love, thank you so much for the love. Appreciate it. They could be saying that so if it is a family member, they let their guard down. Oh. Quite possible, love. Quite possible. Put it out there, and then bang. They let their guard down. They slip up. They make a huge mistake. That'd be a big deal. Now, some people are saying that like Tommaso's in Italy watching the Olympics or something like that. Is that even true? Do we have actual factual evidence of him actually being in Italy watching the freaking Olympics? Why would he be in the Olympics when he is a science teacher and it's school time? School's not out. So why would he be in Italy watching a mother-loving Winter Games Olympics? The Winter Olympics, not the Hunter Games, but the Winter Olympics, when he still has a job teaching children. Think about that for a second. Oh, and let's not forget, his mother-in-law is missing. Who on God's green earth is going to be like, oh, babe. It only happens 4 times every 4 years, honey. I gotta fly to Italy. I just gotta. Are you out of your mind? But mama ain't here. But you understand these tickets. You don't get these tickets like this, babe. That's not happening. She goes, you get on that plane. I'm divorcing you. You know for a fact that would be happening. So why would he be out there watching the Olympics? That is so cold-hearted. Why would he do that? And let's not forget, what about them kids that he's teaching? Is he saying, F them kids, I'm gonna go to the Olympics? Once in a lifetime opportunity. Come on now. Come on. He's not in Italy, y'all. Come on. Oh my God. I'm sorry. Okay, no. And he's definitely not an athlete. So he ain't competing. Okay? So I don't know. No. Let's move on. Beautiful Disaster, again, thank you so much. This case is Elizabeth Smart mixed with John Benet Ramsey. You know, I can see that. Yeah, I could definitely see that. This one was all over the place. But it's been like this with other cases too, where it's just been a cluster F, right? Just too many left turns, too much misinformation, too many theories, too many wild theories. I'm waiting for Ancient Aliens to come out. I'm waiting for don't you see the marking on his arm? Oh yeah, he's one of those ancient aliens, you know. He's a distant cousin from one of those marsupials. Like, I'm just waiting for something crazy. Okay. Even crazier than what we've seen so far. Because there are some crazy theories out there. Trust me, they are. They're out there. You don't even have to look hard. It's right there in your face. Damn. Cynthia, thank you so much for the love. My husband thinks Nancy had gotten eaten by some wild bears, wolves, and think people want money because her daughter is famous. There it is. Okay. I didn't expect that to happen. Okay. So sorry, I didn't mean to chuckle. It was just the timing with what I just said and then this. Thank you so much for the super chat. I don't but see, here's the thing. If she was left out in the like if she was out in the middle of the desert, yes, I could see that being a possibility. It's a possibility. But I don't think that's the case. We would have seen remnants of her somewhere, right? It's not like a bear, like I hate to say that, but it's not like a bear went up and just swallowed her whole. So again, or or a wild, or like a wolf or a coyote, or there's also boars out there, wild pigs that are out there, literally, okay, out there. You'd think that there would be some semblance of her somewhere, okay. So that's why I'm like, I don't know about all that, you know. But it is still possible. But I feel like we would have seen something by now, you know? Just by an animal of any kind, that's possible. But we haven't seen anything so far. And if they are looking, you'd think that we'd see something by now, right? Thank you so much for the comment, though. It's not a bad theory. Not a bad theory at all. Very possible, but I feel like we would have seen something by now. Teresa, thank you so much. What about the fact that the roads are so windy and difficult to navigate, and presumed the perp didn't use a phone or navigation system because it could be tracked? Then that would mean he would know where he was going, that he's practiced this before, or something of that sort. Or maybe he used to work there. That's still on the table. Maybe that he's a past, like employee or something like that, but knows exactly how rich the Guthrie family is, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? So that is possible. The fact that if he didn't use a phone, didn't use a navigation system, that means he's been there before. So interesting, right? Thank you so much, though. Messi, thank you so much for the love. Did a bear dress up in a mask and gloves and rip off the cameras and floodlights? No, definitely not. Definitely not. Okay. Yeah, definitely not that. Definitely. Why am I sounding like Rain Man? Definitely not. Definitely not. Definitely not. Okay. But I could see if she was attacked and maybe the guy ran off and then she was bleeding, running out the back door or something like that. You know what I mean? Freaking out or something like that. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like I could see something like that, but we would see a blood trail going in a different direction than where it ended up going out. So yeah, definitely not wild animals involved in this situation for sure. And I got to be honest, I kind of wish it was that case, because we'd be able to find her. Bang, she's there. You know what I mean? Unfortunately, that's not the case, right? Perp, Bill, thank you so much for the love. I appreciate it. Perp throwing glove out vehicle window is nonsense. Exactly. It doesn't make sense, guys. It doesn't make any bloody sense. We got her. And just throw it out the window? Whilst driving down the road, you're speeding down the road. And you're like, yeah, we got her, man. We're about to make money. And just throw it out the window. It's just dumb to me. But this guy might be dumb. You know what I mean? Like, there's some people that are just dumb. Maybe he's just that dumb. But I just don't see it. Okay? Yeah, you know what I mean? What if they have her on a boat? Yacht. Steve, Baker, sup? I mean, anything's possible. Anything's possible. Right? Anything's possible. She could be anywhere. At this point, she could be anywhere. But again, guys, what say you? What are your thoughts on this? Are you feeling that maybe the family shouldn't have been cleared so soon? Mind you, We are walking into the 17th day. Yeah, it's been 16 days, everybody. Ladies and germs, 16 mother-loving days, and we're walking into the 17th day. So I ask you again, do you think this is too soon to have them cleared? I see certain people should be cleared already, should have been cleared, because there's no way that they were here, unless they were orchestrating it from afar, but I doubt that. But the question I still have for you is this fair? Is this right? Do you think that this is right or no? You got FBI with a list of 40 names running around out here with 40 names and faces, going to different gun stores saying, have you seen these 40 men, 40 individuals, and seeing if there's maybe a connection here. You still have a Range Rover that's getting processed for DNA right now as we speak. And the DNA that was on the glove that was found 2 miles down the road from Nancy Guthrie's house has been processed, but it hasn't been put into CODIS yet. Now, all of that is subject to change, hopefully by tonight. Dear God, I hope that they do that by tonight. But they are dragging their knuckles. FBI, law enforcement, they are dragging their knuckles. And I get it that the first 48 has been here and passed already. But at the same time, if they truly believe that she's still alive, then they need to get their asses in motion. Bloop. Bloop bleep. Thank you so much for the love. I appreciate it, bloop bleep. Thank you so much. But guys, that is the show. I appreciate all y'all for being here. It really means a lot. If there's any updates, trust me, we'll be talking about it. Tomorrow will be a much different show. So we'll be back, different timing of the show and everything. I'll be back on in the morning to wrap with you guys and see what's going on. We'll see. Because if nothing's popping in the morning, I may wait a little while before I go live with you guys. But make sure you have that notification bell set to all, because I might give you guys some short videos or shorter videos or some shorts, okay? Because, there's always something new going on, all right? So before you head out, please do me a solid. Hit that like button down below. Crush it. Send it to 2,000 likes. That would be amazing. Hit the like button on your way out. That'd be amazing, okay? Hit that reaction button if you're watching on these other platforms. If you are watching on these other platforms like Facebook, X/Twitter, Instagram, Rumble, Twitch, Kick, make sure you hit that follow button. Follow, okay? Follow. Please and thank you. Make sure you subscribe here on my YouTube channel. Subscribe. Hit that notification bell. Set it to all so you know whenever I go live, whenever I upload, because it is random. It is. So make sure you do that for me, please, and thank you. Hit that join button down below, become a member. Check out my Patreon, and of course, check out PascalMerch.com. We got some really great stuff over there, PascalMerch.com. Anyway, guys, this story is still brewing. There's still a lot, and I still have faith that the law enforcement is going to get their bad guys. We'll see what happens here, but until then, it's time to get going. Be good to yourselves. Be good to one another. This is the Pascal Show. Bye.